Thank you, dear. Thank you. That was actually a gift to my grandson, but he's 12 now and he's way too cool for Puff. And I wanted Fleet to sing the song because today we're talking about all is an illusion, and that the energy of the mystical, the magical, and the miraculous. And every time I travel and I get on a plane, I make this declaration: the mystical, the magical, and the miraculous go before me and prepare the way with ease and grace. And we think, how can everything be illusion? Look, you know, this podium is solid, this computer is solid, this energy that, you know, we're feeling, it feels solid. But there's a wonderful Buddhist legend about all is an illusion. And that when we live totally in the now moment, that there is no past and there is no present. Remember, the first mystical law was what? Live in the now. That the point of power is always in the now moment. The second mystical law, and I loved Josie's channeling about, the truth is there really are no laws and there really are no words. In fact, what are the words? That we give the words life so that they can live in the soul and the energy of the field, right? And Rumi said it so beautifully. He said, beyond thoughts of right doing or wrong doing, there's a field. I'll meet you there. I will meet you there. And so on this morning, where we look at this third mystical law, and last week was on forgiveness. The second mystical law was forgiveness. And that really nothing can really be manifested in our lives until we forgive what? First ourselves, and whatever we are holding on to, or whatever we perceive the hurt to be. And believe me, in the 46 years of my ministry, I have heard it all. And then the suffering and the pain that these beautiful souls have gone through. And I believe that we go through these so it deepens the energy of our heart. The heart is the doorway to the soul. And as we deepen the quality of our life, then we are there with compassion for one another. We're there with a sense of understanding. And what is our pain, Gibran states, but the breaking of the shell that encloses our understanding. So when we look at all is illusion and that whole Buddhist energy of not looking outside ourselves in a way that we're going to judge and criticize and make things so real for us and carry them with us. When we let go and let God do what God does best by means of us, that means the letting go of everything that no longer serves us. And believe me, it's a lot easier said than done. So much easier said than done. And I love the story of Professor Ravel. And he wrote a book. In fact, he's the founder of Spiritism. And he wrote the book Spiritism, and he was from Paris, France. And he went, you know, he was a scientist. He was very empirical. He heard about these table tippers. And he thought, if I have a table, I want wine and cheese to be on it. Right? Just give me some wine and cheese for my table. Now, Adele Tinning in San Diego, and I was in San Diego for 30 years. I had 3,000 people attending my services every week. We had like just this huge mega church. And our message was out there. I had television and radio and all of, you know, the things. We didn't have computers then, but we had TV and we had radio, ways to communicate. And I heard about Adele Tinning, and she wrote a book about her table tipping experience. And Shirley MacLaine used to go, and, you know, they were good friends, and she'd spend a few days with Adele. And so I was skeptical because in religious science, the laws of science, there is a very empirical force field in religious science. The laws of science, the opinions of philosophy, okay, that opens us up a bit, doesn't it? And the revelations of religion really opens us up. The revelations of religion. And I was Catholic as well, Josie. I converted because everywhere we moved, I went to that particular church. And so I, you know, converted to Catholicism when I was 13 years old. And I love studying the mystics. And I love studying the saints. And I loved, Saint Teresa. I said, let nothing disturb thee. Let nothing affright thee. All things are changing. God only is changeless. And that these saints saw visions of Mary. They saw visions of disciples. They saw visions and the energy of Christ coming to them, the Christ. And remember, it was Jesus of Nazareth. And when his humanness gave way to the divine, the Christ consciousness arose triumphant and victorious. So when our humanness gives way to the divine, the Christ consciousness is made manifest. The Buddha nature is made manifest. The holy I am presence is made manifest. I am hath sent me. And be very aware that whatever you put after I am becomes your reality. It's about conscious languaging, that which we utter in the throat chakra. Remember, a chakra is a wheel of spinning energy. It's an ancient Sanskrit word, a wheel of spinning energy in a clockwise fashion. We have 7 major chakras within this body temple. And the power center is the throat center. It's this chakra. That which we utter becomes the outer. Decree a thing, and it is established unto us. So we look at that all is an illusion in this as a third mystical law. It's that we don't put the value in the outer. And that when we think this outer is reality and we say, well, in the real world, that ain't the real world outside of us. That's the relative world. It changes moment to moment to moment. The real world is within us. Be still and know that I am God. That we're all co-creators with this energetic universal presence that is the center of everything and the circumference of nothing. Walt Whitman said, in the faces of men and women, I see God. In the faces of men and women, I see God. That is the energy that is there for us to connect to. So Professor Ravel, who was very empirical, he was a scientist, and give me a table and I want wine and cheese on it. What is all this tipping of tables? So he was convinced to go to a seance, and the medium was highly spiritual. And they had a little basket, and they put a pencil through the basket. And what happened was they would write a message to certain people around the table. And he received a message. And that in a former life, he was a great Druid priest named Allan Kardec. And then the medium shared a conversation he had with his wife regarding the stars and looking up at the twin stars, and that they would always be together. It was an intimate, loving conversation. He married his soulmate, and her name was Amélie Gabrielle. And they were so deeply, deeply close, discussing the stars, and the medium brought that up. And all of the things that, they held sacred. So he was like blown away. How could this happen? I'm a scientist. I believe in reason. So the spiritualists went to him and said, we would like you to be a part of us and to be open your mind. This is what you talk about. And so he went to other meetings and he said, we need to put it out there. Who is God all around the world? And if it comes back with the same answer, I will begin to join your movement and realize that there is more than the eye sees, that there is an invisible world communicating with us. For eye hath not seen nor ear heard, neither hath it entered into the heart of humanity the things which God hath prepared for them that love. And he discovered that love was his ground of being. And so they put it out there to many, many mediums around the world. And The answer was, God is intelligence. God is love. God is everywhere present. They were all the same answers. And he had the realization, the revelation, that there is more than the eye can see. That there is the spirit world. I loved in the City of Angels, there's Nicolas Cage and there's Danny DeVito. They're angels. Now, Danny falls in love with a human being, so he falls from heaven into the human experience because he's in love. And so he finds himself in the hospital. Now, Nicolas Cage is in the room, but you really can't see him. He's an angel. So Danny, who is the fallen angel, says, I can't see you, but I know you're here. I love it. And there are times in my own energy field, and I look out at my, affectionately, the San Jacinto Mountains, which I call my Himalayas, and I feel such a power and such a presence in this energy field. And I feel like I'm really the only one here. And there are snowbirds, on each side, but I'm on a corner and I really cannot see anyone. And I feel this power, this presence. I have the animals that come, and I put out all the bird seed, and all the species come, let us dine together. Come, let us reason together. And so as we look at all as an illusion, what that means is don't give your power away to the stuff outside of yourself. And I was sharing with someone recently, and I don't believe in constructive criticism. I think it's a downer, it's a lower vibratory frequency. The minute someone says, oh, I have constructive criticism, do you open yourself to it and say, oh, wonderful? No, we shut down. Our heart closes. But if you love people and you have a positive suggestion, and I have a positive suggestion for you that perhaps, making this little shift or that little shift, I can receive that. We can receive positive suggestions shared in love. Shared in love. And we receive it, and we open, and we grow to the next level. Because if we are defensive, and believe me, we all go through that. I'm going to be doing this very esteemed, it's like a TED Talk, only it's called Sue Talks. And in 2015, two women got together and said, we want a soul-centered approach to putting out our talks, rather than a mental approach to putting out talks. And they founded Sue Talks. And I did a rehearsal, and I've got like my podium, and I've got I'm dressing to what I'm going to wear the night of the talk, and I'm putting it out there. And I'm used to speaking to 25,000 students and faculty at Madonna University or at Cambridge, where there's a whole auditorium filled. I'm giving it, all this energy. And the one person said that she felt that she was kind of a little too strong, and kind of being, she brought up the fact that she called me a pastor. I am not a pastor, and you are not sheep. And I know that Jesus said, I know my sheep, and my sheep are known of me. And that was his analogy. But I feel that I am a spiritual leader and a minister, that I minister to you. At times you'll minister to me. We're all ministers. So she pulled the card out of pastor and sermon, that she felt maybe she was being sermonized to. And I absorbed it, and I actually taped it and showed it to some of my team, which they felt that she pulled that card and that it was really in bad taste. And when people love you, isn't it great? It's just wonderful. That was really it. And but as I listened, I realized they wanted more of a conversational energy than, I'm getting up there, I'm speaking to the multitudes, right? So I did take in what I felt was appropriate. I did take exception. We can take exception to things rather than being offended. If we're offended, we lower our own energy, and our energy drains out of us. But if we take exception to something, and remember, I have been teaching conscious languaging for 46 years. And if we take exception to something, then we can shift it to the next higher vibratory frequency. If we are offended, our energy goes down, and it's about our own self-esteem. You know, when I feel good about myself, I'm not offended, but I can take exception to something. And I loved the statement of, if you are ever late and you walk in, don't apologize for being late. Just say, thank you for waiting for me. And when you thank everyone for waiting for you, it lifts the energy, right? It lifts the energy. So we obviously don't want to be late. However, there are stuff that does happen at times. Thank you for waiting for me. And someone at an event, I was nominated for the Lifetime Achievement Award, and I got this beautiful award. And it was recently, and someone sat on my seat as I was up getting my award. And when I came off the platform, I just said, oh, thank you for warming my seat up for me. I really appreciate it. And she said, oh, that's such a nice way to say, get out of my seat. And I said, well, you know, I don't want to, you know, offend you either. And you didn't know that I was sitting there, obviously. So there are ways that we can communicate that lift the energy field. And when we look at all as an illusion, and that we want to approach one another with love and compassion and a certain understanding and respect and dignity, that we are all one. This is our grounded being. So the first mystical law of life was to live in the now moment. And that when you live in the now moment, everything flows from that. Remember, my name is I am, not I was. When you live in the past, I am not there. When you live in the moment, I am there. My name is not I will be. When you live in the future, I am not there. My name is not I will be. However, when you live in the moment, I am there. My name is I am. And then to move into forgiveness. How often do we forgive? When the disciple asked Jesus, what was it? You forgive them 7 times 70. And when he was hanging on the cross, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. And he could transcend in purity and a sense of energy. Into thy hands I commend my spirit. I commend my life. Because destroy this house, and in 3 days I will build it up again. Energy is neither destroyed nor created. It merely changes form. And when it changes form, I can't see you, but I know you're here. I know you're here. So on this day where we look at all as an illusion, it was under the sun and its radiant beam, when life unfolds, an amazing dream. For in our hearts and our minds and the energy of life, we release the strife. We come together as one. And as we come together as one, we embrace in this knowingness that if I am in this place in me and you are in this place in you, there is only one of us. So we're all going to go somewhere. We're all on a journey and we're all on a path. And where are we going? Higher yet. Where are we going? Higher yet. Where are we going? Higher yet. For we are in a high place and we will not come down. And if Puff the Magic Dragon lives by the sea, you know what? That's where I want to be. That's where I want to be. And I've just returned from 5 days in Laguna Beach, and I feel renewed, and I felt rejoicing in the energy of renewal, regeneration, and recreation. As we go higher yet, as we acknowledge our oneness, as we say to one another, Shalom, the peace that passes all understanding. And God bless us every single day. And so it is. Thank you.